good evening, and welcome to Tea Time.
Everybody, welcome to Tea Time. It is another Monday night. It is October 17th. I'm so happy everyone is joining me tonight. Like the show, share it. Tea Time is on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Twitch TV, every Saturday at 11 a.m. on Channel 20 for those people who get Cablevision, who live on Long Island. Let's talk about my weekend really quick, and it's going to be quick because I have a live guest tonight. I'm so excited. Didn't really do much this weekend. It was a crazy, crazy, crazy weekend. Most of you know my daughter had heart surgery, and she has a very rare condition I want people to know about. It's called WPW, Wolff Parkinson's White, and only 20,000 people are diagnosed with this a year, and it has to do with an extra valve. Okay, we all have one valve that makes everything flow and the electricity to our heart, and she was born with an extra valve, so they had to go in, do an ablation. But when they got in there, they actually didn't find one extra valve. They found two. So they had to do 2 ablations. And she's doing well, but her heart is racing, and I think it's part of the healing process. I don't know, but tomorrow we're going back to St. Francis, and she's going to get a heart monitor, and she needs to be monitored. Because, you know, it's like, how do you differentiate what's a good, fast, you know, if it's part of healing or if it's an issue. So I don't know what's going on with that. And then the rest of the weekend, I had no water in my house. Okay, so I want to say thank you for running water. Thank you for electricity. It's the little things that we take for granted, people in life. Remember, people years ago had to go outside and pump water, okay, into a bucket, all right? And then they had outhouses, no plumbing. I had no water in my house. Something busted in the bathroom. It was like a scene from a movie. Water's gushing out of my wall, water all over in the boiler room upstairs. It was a mess, but thank God after 2 days, I have water back. And not that I didn't shower. I went to my brother's to shower. I kept clean, people. But listen, oh, and also, okay, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, hence the pink. I'm wearing pink all month. So ladies, get your girls checked. Men do self-exams too. Men get breast cancer also. So just, you know, just examine yourself, go for your mammos. It's very, very, very important, okay? All preventative measures. This is what we're talking about. And, you know, while I'm here with my guest, it is also Italian Heritage Month, okay? And to the left of me, I have Paul Tully. I'm going to introduce Paul. He's an actor, he's a writer, he's a producer, he's a director. But Paul is half Italian.
That's right. The good half.
The good half, and a quarter Greek and a quarter Irish.
Right.
Correct? And your maiden, like your, hello, your mother's maiden name.
Giulianelli.
Giulianelli. Okay, so being Italian, I have to share this with him and with you, because I know you'd appreciate it. So it's Italian Heritage Month, and a lot of people are saying, why do Italians put plastic on their furniture? You ever wonder that? How that happens? Bobby, play that video. Let's find out how plastic... 5 seconds. So Bobby's going to put on how Italians, how we put plastic, why we put plastic, how it came to be plastic on our furniture. So Bobby's going to pop that on. I guess, well, I told him I might do it at the end, but I decided to do it at the beginning. It's okay. He's getting it. He's getting it. But so
We
you
wanna
said
know
that.
the
So you
answer.
said the better half.
The better
half. Is she? What part of Italy?
Abruzzo. I was just there in April. I spent 3
Were
weeks and then got
you?
COVID, so I was there for another 10 days. I was there a month.
In Italy.
Yeah.
I've never been. I want to
Oh,
go.
you gotta come.
I'm 100% Sicilian. Are you inviting me?
I'm inviting you. I'm going next August.
I will
San
definitely
Giorgio. It's
go.
the saint of the
Yeah,
town
yeah,
that my
yeah.
family comes from, so they do a big festival.
That's
so it's
awesome.
unbelievable.
I've never been. I want to go. My parents, both my parents are Sicilian. Messina and Catania. So I'm like dying to go. Bobby, let me know when you're ready. He's ready. Play that video and let's see how Italians, how they came up with putting plastic on their furniture.
There are many people out there who like the Italian way of doing things. They may even want to be Italian. First, we must understand the origins of some classic Italian traditions and sayings. For instance, why do many old-school Italians cover their living room furniture in plastic? Well,
Oh, Ma, this pasta with the sauce is so good.
Giovanni, it's called gravy.
Ma, that's another episode. Let's just go with the sauce for you. It's so good.
Hey, what are you doing eating on the couch? You a slob. It's gonna get all over the place.
It's so nice here. I sit, I'm comfortable. I can see all your Sinatra pictures. It's so nice.
Giovanni, you're gonna make a mess of my beautiful couch.
No, Ma. You know what?
What?
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take this plastic bag. I'll sit on it nice and nice, and I'll eat.
No, I don't think so, because when you eat the spaghetti, you slurp. It goes all over the place.
Oh, Ma, it's so good. What do you want me to do?
You know, Giovanni, I think you've given me a good idea.
and that's why old-school Italians cover their furniture in plastic. Okay, until next time. Get the frig out of here.
Paul, did you know that's how it happened?
No, you learn something new every day. It makes sense. Makes a lot of
She
sense.
had a great idea.
Great idea, genius.
Listen, let me get to my guest. He's an actor, he's a writer, he's a producer, he's a director. Paul Tully, how are you, my friend?
Great, thank you for having me on.
I am so excited you're here. This man is from LA. I mean, originally from New York. So we're going to get into everyone getting to know you. But, you live in LA now. We're going to talk about why you're here. But I'm glad to have you in studio.
Super excited to be here. I've been to Long Island like one time.
Really?
And it was when I was a kid, so this was like a mini vacation from when I
All
was.
right, well, let's talk about you. Let everyone get to know you. You grew up originally in the city, right?
Yeah, I grew up down in Greenwich Village.
The Village?
Uh-huh. Actually on 13th and Hudson, to be exact. So kind of the meatpacking district.
Right,
but
right.
At the time, it was just meat market. So.
Okay, so tell me, where'd you go to school in the city?
Yeah, so I went to PS41 in Greenwich Village.
Yeah.
And then I went to school in Chelsea. I went to IS-70 and Humanities, which was Charles Evan Hughes. Now it's Humanities High School. And then I went back to California.
So what kind of kid were you in school? Were you into sports? Were you into the acting? What were you into as a kid?
So I have like different phases. As a little kid, I was a good kid. I was. I went actually.
Yes, we all start out that way, don't we, Paul?
Yeah,
we all start out as good kids.
That's right. I went to St. Bernard's. Actually, I forgot. I went to St. Bernard's before PS41.
Okay, all right.
And I was in Catholic school, and I enjoyed Catholicism and church.
Yes.
And I played a lot of sports as a kid. No, I didn't get into the arts. I did take some classes at HB Studios. It was at one of my dad's friends, from the village, told him about this program. So I took like kid acting classes, but I never took it serious. It was never.
When you say kid, how old were you?
I think at the time I might have been 11. I was in PS41.
Oh, wow. Okay,
11.
so it was preteen years.
Preteen. And I did it for like 1 year or one season, school year, and then that's it. I never touched the arts again.
Okay.
Until many years later. We'll get into that, but
many years later.
I didn't get involved in this till I was 30.
Okay.
So I lived a whole life before getting involved in theater and
right.
and
so let's
now
talk
film.
about your life before theater.
Sure.
You What did you do after school? What did you do? I mean, because you didn't stay a good kid.
I didn't.
You kind of dabbled in a little illegal activity, which I have some family members that were followed the path too.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we could talk about it because statute of limitations. No, I was never no big time criminal.
No.
But I, like most kids.
Listen, I had a cousin who dealt drugs. In all the clubs back in the day in the city.
Right.
He was a dealer. And unfortunately, he became a user.
Yeah,
and then he had to decide on jail or daytop.
Right.
And
very similar story.
And thank God today, married kid, doing great.
Right.
Same story.
Same story. I got sober at 21.
Okay.
So let's skip past. I mean, I was a knucklehead. I ran around.
Right.
Nothing big deal, no big shot. But, messing around. Then I started partying and doing drugs, and my girlfriend got pregnant at 19.
Oh.
And about a year after the baby came, she had enough. And she put me out. She said,
well, you were kids.
We were kids.
You were kids.
And but that led me to a good thing. I got a little bit of trouble with the law. This was in California, by the way. I had went to California.
This is all in L.A.?
Yeah, I went to L.A.
So none of this, how old were you when you moved to L.A.?
11th grade. So I don't know, 17. I was still young.
Yeah, you're 16, 17.
Yeah. So I really started getting in the most trouble in L.A.
Now, so your entire family moved to L.A.?
No. So
how did that happen?
So originally, I'm born in L.A. My mother's from L.A.
Okay.
From a town called Downey. Which am I too loud on the mic?
No.
So originally, my mother.
We're Italian. What's too loud?
I'm like blowing the mic out. So just in a nutshell, my mother's from L.A.
Okay.
My father had hitchhiked. He's hardcore New York. His whole family's here.
Okay.
So they're on Staten Island, the city. So he had hitchhiked to New York at 13. Him and his friend Bobby, who was just at my film premiere.
Wow.
He's like an uncle. They had hitchhiked. He was from Fulton Projects in Chelsea.
Yeah.
And, old school Irish guys. My father.
Yeah.
So they had hitchhiked to L.A. and he met my mother out there.
Okay.
So I was born there, and then we came here when I was 2.
Okay.
And then my parents split up when I was about 5, so I went with my mother originally back to L.A.
Okay.
And, my father got sober in between that time. My mother was still a little wild. Mm-hmm. And I ended up coming back to New York with my father. My sister stayed in L.A. Okay. So it was kind of like mom. My sister stayed on the West Coast.
Right.
My father got me, so it was like he was raising me here.
Right.
And I would spend summers in LA, so I'm very connected to both coasts.
Sure.
It's not like
Yeah.
So I have family there. So I went back out there when I was like high school, 11th grade.
Yeah.
And my father stayed in New York.
Okay.
I went out to be with an aunt. That's where I started That's where I started getting in trouble. I was coming from New York, and these LA guys, we of course, I bonded with like the wrong crowd.
Right.
And I didn't really fit in with like the California. I kind of fit in with the rougher crowd.
Yeah.
And I started getting in trouble. And anyways, past that, I got sober and fixed up my life at 21. I've been sober since. So it's been a long
congratulations.
time. Thank you.
That's a great feat within itself.
Yeah.
You also, listen, 9/11, we'll talk about September 11th,
sure.
Hit everyone hard to the core.
Right.
Especially people who were in New York at the time.
Right.
And I think everybody either knows someone or has a connection to someone who was lost.
Sure.
And I know that it affected you in a very personal way. Tell me how that affected you.
Yeah, so I had joined the military 4.5 months.
You joined the Navy.
The Navy.
Thank you for your service. My dad was in the Navy.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, my
USS
godfather was in the
Conway.
Navy. Conway, I was on
Back
the Stennis.
in the day.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
I mean, sailors, it was a great experience.
Yeah.
My godfather also was in World War II in the Navy. So I joined the Navy, and 9/11 happened. I joined in February. So
right.
September 11th happened. My cousin, Nicole, who lives out here, she lives in Staten Island. She worked in the tower. So she did make the evacuation. So she lived.
Thank God.
But it was a incredibly traumatic day for
Absolutely.
the world.
Yes.
For us, it was traumatic. I was off the coast of Mexico doing combat operations. Like, we would do drills on the ship. So we'd leave for 2 weeks. And I was aboard an aircraft carrier.
Right.
So that day, it was an incredible day. My other cousin, her brother, who came to I saw him at my premiere, Patty. He's on the job, so he's 25 years NYPD. At the time, I don't know, I don't remember. I think he was like 4 years on the job or 3 years.
Right.
So he was fairly new. So he worked the site,
Yeah.
And it was.
And you served from 2001 to 2005. Correct?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know what? We're going to take my first break, but when we come back, we're going to find out what happened. What happened? What did he do after the Navy? Let's find out. So stay right there. We'll be back after this with Paul.
Well, hi there, Teresa. It's John York from General Hospital. I am just checking in because apparently you have a great talk show called Tea Time on Strong Island TV. I want you to have continued great success and have a lot of fun. It sounds like you're having a lot of fun, and that's pretty much the key to everything, isn't it? So continued success. I'm proud of you. Have a great day, Teresa. Bye.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Tea Time. Let's give some shout outs to Joe DeBarry and Ann's watching and Albert. Albert's going to be on my show. We got to pick a date. Thank you everyone for watching my show. Please like it. Please share it. I'm with Paul Tully. He's an actor, writer, producer, director. We're going to find out how this all happened. But first, let's talk about what you did after the service.
Sure. So after the service, I was going to try to get on the job. So I had took the test and come to New York. And did the agility. I was in shape, man. And I did the agility. I did everything and did the psych eval, and I failed background, even though I had been honest about.
Really?
I had an arrest in L.A. when I was young. It was a misdemeanor,
and
but I had disclosed it in the beginning of the process.
Right,
and my background investigator was great. She was from the Bronx. I'll never forget her. She was fantastic. She really wanted to give me this opportunity. And the day before the academy, a lieutenant. I still remember her name, but a lieutenant wouldn't sign off on me, so that crushed that. So that was my whole plan, was like get on the job, get a career.
Yeah, retire in 20 years.
Retire in 20 years, and so I went back to LA, because my son's out there, so I said, all right, I was going to be like a summertime dad, you know? I mean, so then I felt, all right, maybe that wasn't the plan, God didn't want me for, so I went back to LA, and I was just working jobs. I was working in a jewelry store, and I went back to school to use my GI Bill, because you lose it if you don't. I didn't know that. I couldn't pass it to my son at the time. Now vets could pass it down. At the time, you couldn't pass it, and if you didn't use it in 10 years after getting out, you lost, I think I had $48,000 for schooling.
Yeah.
So the way it works is you take classes, they send you the check. So I said, I don't really want a degree. I just wanted the money to supplement my income. And in registration, I seen an acting class.
Really?
And I thought, I love movies. I think all of us feel that at some point. You know, I thought, I like movies, and I just got to be easy class. So that's how I got introduced. And I took this theater class in a community college, and they're doing, the classics, the Shakespeare, and I wasn't really vibing yet.
Right.
And one day, and this is an incredible story, but one day this kid comes up to me in class, goes, "Hey, Paul, you should read this play. It's a New Yorker. I think you'll like this writer."
Okay.
And the person's name is Stephen Adley Girgis. He's a New York City, right now, icon in theater. Mm-hmm. Has a play on Broadway now. So it was a play called Jesus Hops A Train. So I read that. I opened it. I read it like in 45 minutes. Mm-hmm. And I fell in love. And that's when I knew there's a place for actors like me in theater. He writes for blue-collar character actors.
Right.
And today I have a friendship with him. I mean, I know it's so cool. It's very serendipitous. But that's how I got introduced to the stage.
Well, you took acting. You studied acting in L.A. and New York.
And New York, yeah.
And let's see if I'm correct. Your first professional gig was back in 2004, called Tiger Cruise.
Wow, you dug that. Yeah, that was why I was in the Navy.
Okay.
Interesting thing on that, they were looking for background actors. So I still, again, had no idea about acting at the time.
Right.
I just was like, oh, yeah, I'll be a background actor. They shot it on our ship.
Right.
It's called Tiger Cruise with Hayden Panettiere and Bill Pullman. That's it. Wow, how'd you find that?
Listen, I do a lot of research on my guests. So let's go through some of your creds. Let's go through some more creds. After that, you did Agent X.
Yeah, Sharon Stone. Yeah, that was a television show. That was my first. That was my first SAG booking, where I had like a speaking role in a TV show. Yeah, that was fun.
Then you did 11:55. Tell me about that.
11:55 was great. That's a film. I believe it's on Hulu right now.
Right.
It's an incredible film with John Leguizamo and David Zayas, who I just had dinner with 2 nights ago. He's on Broadway. Here's a plug for you, David. He's on Broadway doing a play called Cost of Living. So if you get a chance, it's an incredible play. It's running on Broadway right now. So
did you see it while you were here?
Yeah, I just saw it 2 nights ago.
Nice.
I went out to dinner with the cast. It was great. Yeah, I did a film with, he was in the cast, and John Leguizamo and Victor Almazar and Elizabeth Rodriguez. Phenomenal actors that I look up to. So.
2017, you did Small Shots.
Small Shots. Yeah, so Small Shots is a show a buddy of mine, Jeremy Luke, and Joey Russo are the stars of. I think that it was Netflix. I think it's on Amazon Prime now. But yeah, that was great. I mean, I had a small role in that. I played like a bouncer.
Yeah.
But
it's cool.
How crazy is that? I cast the lead of that show now in my movie.
Which we're definitely gonna talk about a lot. But 2018, you were busy. You did Father Militant.
Father Militant. That was it. Yeah, that was it's a TV pilot. Yeah, I played a cab driver.
And then you did 99 Seats.
99 Seats was an original production I helped write. Yep, that was a web series.
And then let's get to Kingpin, because you played Roy DeMeo.
Roy DeMeo.
Roy, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Roy DeMeo.
I wrote Roy, and I'm looking at it wrong.
That's
Roy
okay.
DeMeo. Bobby's going to put up a couple of pictures from the Kingpin, and that's where that's you all the way to the left, correct?
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, all the way to our left. Yeah.
Our left. They're I don't know if it's going to be there right, Layla. Anyway, and that's where our mutual friend you met, Ralph Bracco.
That's right.
And Ralph Bracco's in Bat Boy, and he's in Murdered by the Mob, and there you are again too. You a little heftier.
Yeah, I'm almost back to that now.
No, you're not. You're so not. But you kind of like. Okay, we're going to talk about that in a little bit. Thanks, Bobby. But you kind of like De Niro. You gain and you lose weight for certain parts.
Oh man, that's I love De Niro. Anytime I can be put in the same conversation.
What? You want me to gain weight? No
that's
problem.
Right. Whatever you want. Yeah, that's easy. I've been up and down. Yeah, I think I've done 200-pound transformations. So
wow, it's amazing.
Lose 100. Lose on. Yeah, be hard-headed. It's like learn a lesson, buddy. So
yeah, no, I get it. I've struggled with my weight. We actually talked about this before the show.
Yeah.
I've struggled with my weight my entire life, and it's it's like the battle of the beast.
You look incredible. You're doing a great job.
I appreciate
Very
it.
inspiring.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I'm trying. 2019, you did The Close.
The Close, yeah.
Yes.
This Close, yes. This Close, yeah.
This Close. Yep. Tell me about it.
That was good. That was a different role for me. I played like a nurse. It's a great show. It's about it's the lead is deaf in real life, and this actor's incredible. And it follows this a deaf gay man on his journey there. And I played this homophobic nurse in one of the big episodes when he's very ill from an accident. So that was an interesting role. I actually really enjoyed doing that role.
That's fun. Yeah, it's fun when you get roles that are also challenging sometimes.
Yeah,
and really
little
makes you
more
step
meat
out
to
of the
it.
box. That kind of thing. So you've done a few shorts. We're going to talk about shorts.
Yeah,
You did A0.
Yep. I did A0 was a short I worked on in L.A. I played a guy on death row, and that one was good too because that was kind of pre-woke culture, I think. Like in the sense I played a Latino character, and it like now I couldn't even do that. I would pass on the role.
Okay.
But I don't know. It wasn't a big deal then. I got cast, and I did it in Spanish, so I had to learn Spanish for it, which was great.
That's also challenging.
Yeah.
Tell me about Crossroads.
Crossroads, that's my baby. I wrote Crossroads, and I think that was the second. Yeah, it was the second film short that I wrote and directed. We shot that here in New York.
Yeah.
We shot it in my neighborhood, and we even shot one of the most.
How long ago was that?
That was 4 years ago, I believe.
Really?
So like 2018.
And how long is it?
28 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good film. I'm proud of that film. I think that film came out really well. I mean, we had a really
What's it about?
low
Give a
budget.
little synopsis.
Yeah, it's about a guy, Ron, who is in love, and
we've all been there.
yeah, and he's trying to change his life from being like a street hustler to settling down. His girl's pregnant, and there's just
So
a
it's a
whole
little
chain of events.
autobiographical, just a little bit.
I think everything I write is. Everything
Yeah,
I write,
yeah.
every character
Well,
you
they say
see,
write what you know.
write what you know. And the thing is, every character in any one of my projects,
Yeah.
out of the 4 projects I've written, including what we'll get to is my feature,
Replica, we're gonna
every
talk about
character's
that,
a part
yeah.
of me. It's the only way I know how to write. So
Right.
I don't pick, even if it's say a Dominican chef, I'm gonna still write the circumstances of that chef through my life's experiences.
Right.
So I'm not gonna write a Dominican chef and assume what it's like to be a Dominican chef.
Right.
I'll just write it as I'm the chef who happens to be Dominican in the
Right.
character.
I got it.
Yeah, yeah.
What were the other two? So it was Crossroads and Replica. What were the other two that you wrote?
Atonement.
Okay.
Atonement is about 4 women on death row
Okay.
who are with a therapist, and it's an all-female cast, and they're in for like heinous crimes, and it turns out that I set the prison as a metaphor for purgatory. So they're actually already dead, and their therapist is Jesus Christ,
Really?
set as a woman, and
Wow.
they don't know that they're in purgatory. So it's them trying to atone, or the therapist trying to get them to own what they've done,
Okay.
to atone,
Really?
to ascend. But they don't know that. They're
Okay.
just yeah.
Interesting. And the last one, the fourth one?
And the last, so Atonement, Crossroads, Replica, and that's it. And then the feature.
The 3. Okay,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the
yeah,
feature. Okay.
yeah.
What about Corrosion?
Corrosion. Oh, Corrosion was an old film.
Yeah.
I think that was like 2015 or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Corrosion was a film that I did with an indie filmmaker, and it was about it was about it was kind of like a mind spin. I didn't write that. I was
Okay.
an actor in it.
Yeah.
But it followed this character in this like rough situation. It was like embezzling, and it was one of those things.
What do you think comes easier for you? The acting, the writing? Is there one that comes a little easier to you than the other?
No, I think they're both incredibly difficult for me. They completely
I
drain
love
me.
your honesty.
Yeah,
No,
they're completely
seriously.
draining.
No, I mean, they're two different animals.
2 different animals, and I think I indulge myself as much as I can. I'm an extremist, so I mean, I know we all say that cliche, like I'm an extreme actor. I don't see myself as great at anything. I just see myself as trying to get the job done, as truthful and as authentic as I possibly can. And I think if we do that, whether audiences like it or not, we're going to be exhausted, and it doesn't
Right.
really truly
Yeah.
matter.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it matters. You want
Yeah.
them to like it.
Of course.
But if they don't, you can't control how they feel. All I could control is that I give 100% in the authenticity of what I'm either performing in
Right.
or writing
Yeah.
and or directing. So.
Yeah. It's so cool. All right, listen, we're going to take my next break. When we come back, we're going to definitely continue the conversation with Paul about theater and his baby that he birthed in the theater and then brought it to the big screen. So stay right there. We'll be right back. More with Paul Tully.
Wonder Woman was everything to little girls, especially that look like me. She stands for being a voice for people that need a voice. My organization renovates homes for people with disabilities. And when I come home, a self-care routine makes me feel my best. I'm very proud of the difference that we're making, and to see that impact in my community inspires me to work even harder for everyone around me.
How you doing? It's Sal the Voice Valentinetti. Why are you watching me? You should be watching Teresa Canastraci Tea Time with Teresa Canastraci Farrell. And make sure you follow Teresa on Facebook. Tea Time with Teresa Canastraci Farrell. We'll see you there.
I love the way you say my name. I love.
Do you have any clothes on at that time?
Hey, welcome back to Tea Time. We're having a party here. I'm with Paul Tully. He's an actor, he's a writer, he's a producer, he's a director. Give a shout out to Greg DiFilippo, my friend in Florida, who's watching. Ralph Bracco's watching. Thank you everyone for watching. Please like the show. Please share it. Hey, you know, Tea Time is nominated for the third year in a row for Best Podcast, Beth Page, Best of Long Island. You could go to my Facebook page and you can vote for my show. I'm really blessed and honored to even be nominated, really. It's just nice that people appreciate what I do, and I appreciate Paul Tully sitting to the left of me, here from L.A., visiting New York, and we're going to talk about why. So theater, we're going to talk about theater. You did something in L.A. called Short Eyes.
Short Eyes. Yeah, Short Eyes by Miguel Pinheiro. So Miguel Pinheiro's, wow, you really do your research. I love it. I love talking about it. So Short Eyes so I started a theater company called Urban Theater Movement in LA.
I was going to get to that.
No, yeah, I'll let you.
But he started this theater company, which he just mentioned. Go ahead, mention it again.
Yeah, Urban Theater Movement.
Urban Theater Movement. And what year did you start that company?
2010.
Okay.
So Short Eyes was our third production.
Okay.
And it's an incredible thing because it for those of you watching that know Short Eyes or Miguel Pinheiro,
yes,
you know this is an iconic, the first Latino writer to get to Broadway. He's basically the godfather, especially for, I would say, Latino for all actors, but especially Puerto Rican. He was a New Yorican,
right,
icon.
Yeah,
you know. And they made a movie after him that Benjamin Bratt played, called Pinheiro, and it's his life story. So, anyways, I had applied for the rights to do this play because I had a director named Julian Acosta, who's a Puerto Rican actor from Miami, who's a member of the Labyrinth Theater here in New York, which is a very prestigious theater company.
Yes, it is.
So I had applied for the rights, and they kept it's a restricted play. You cannot get the rights for it unless the state approves you. So I applied, just why not? And we had been denied for like 2 years straight.
Okay.
Then one day I get a call out of the blue, and they approved us.
Really?
And Samuel French is the publishing company, and they approved us. They said, hey, congratulations, you've had the rights for Short Eyes. So I called the director, and he said, pay for them right now.
Yeah.
If
Don't
this
even
is a
hesitate.
mistake, just pay for them.
Yeah.
Pay for the rights, and sure enough, we get into the rehearsal process, we get a cease and desist order. And apparently there was a mishap. Apparently there was a mistake. But at this point, our lawyers were like, we don't care whose fault it is.
Yes.
So through that, we were able to do the production without the support of anyone.
Wow.
We did it in LA, and it took off.
Really?
It was an incredible production. Benjamin Bratt came. All the celebrities who played Pinheiro, celebrities came out. And then through that, the family did reach out to me.
Oh.
And they invited me to Miami to meet with Miguel's brother.
Wow.
And do I have a minute to tell this most incredible
You've
story?
got as many minutes as you want. Hello.
So I hope there's some Pinheiro fans out there because this is so amazing. So I go to Miami, me and Julian, and we meet with Miguel Pinheiro's brother.
Okay.
And we're having lunch with him.
How surreal was that for you?
So surreal. But even more is what happens next.
Okay.
His brother comes to, we're eating in a Cuban restaurant, Versailles, in Miami. So we're having lunch there. He brings out a box.
Okay.
He says, I want to show you guys something. He gives us a letter. So it's like 10 pages, and there are different color papers and different pens throughout these 10 pages. Like one would be, so I'm reading, it was a letter from Miguel Pinheiro to his brother.
Wow.
When his brother was in the military.
Right.
This is at the height of Miguel's career. Now, Miguel Pinheiro without disrespect, was very known for being a drug addict, and he died. He died in the 80s, and but he got fame very quick after a long prison sentence, where he wrote Short Eyes in prison, and it's about a pedophile in prison who obviously. No spoiler if you haven't read it. I mean, this is what it's about. But it's about a pedophile in prison who gets killed by inmates. And it really makes you question and judge your own humanity. It's a brilliant play. And Joseph Papp, who started the Public Theater, put Pinero's play up. And it made Pinero's career. So now he's doing like Miami Vice and writing all these shows in the 80s. And he's famous overnight. And, he has all the Madonnas and the big shots. So he writes this letter to his brother. And I think it would be like he'd be on a nod maybe and then finish up a couple days later. And then a couple days later. He sent these letters. And it was so poetic because he wrote in poetry.
Wow.
The way he would do poetry. Because Miguel Pinero was a poet. And in the letter, he would talk about the Judases and it was. And I'm not getting too much into the personal letter because that's a family, so I shouldn't even go. But what was amazing was reading Miguel's writing to his own brother.
Holding it, seeing it, amazing.
And this is the killer. He goes, so I'm done, and I go, wow, man. He goes, look at the letterhead, because I go, oh, it says Los Angeles. It was written in the lobby of a bank at the time, which is now the theater we had produced the play in LA. No. With no one knew. So the brother said, when I read the LA Times review, and he said I started crying.
Wow.
Because I went, wait, where is it at? And it was the same address as on the letterhead from 30 years ago.
Oh, I got goosebumps.
Yeah, I swear. Crazy. No, he was like, and he was like, that's when I knew Mikey was with you.
Wow.
And that's when I approved you to continue
God.
the production. Yeah. So
that's
then we took it to
amazing.
Miami, and we did amazing in Miami, and the Miami Herald came out. So the play hasn't been done since. I mean, it's a restricted play.
Yeah.
So
but you're the only one that can.
To the Pinero family,
that's amazing.
Thank you.
Wow.
I got to meet his sisters, and I think we did justice. I think our director, Julian Acosta, did an amazing job. And
what a story. Thank you for sharing that. That's amazing. It's really, there are no accidents in life.
No.
There are none.
No, I mean, for me, I'm a person of faith, and that was a testament to me. That was a God shot, and it was incredible. So I'm always honored to talk about that play.
Well, tell me about handball.
Handball's great.
Handball you did in New York.
Handball we did in LA first, and it got brought to New York.
Right.
Handball's written by an incredible New York writer named Seth Zvi Rosenfeld. You may know his work. He's been a writer. He's from the Bronx. He wrote a film called Sunset Park that Ray Perlman did. That was kind of the launch of his career, I think, back in the 90s. He was also married to Rosie Perez. So he was really in that spotlight is what I'm saying. Recently, he's done some things. He wrote he was one of the writers on The Get Down on Netflix. Him and Stephen Adley Garrigus, who I mentioned earlier. So I hooked up with Seth at Short Eyes. He was in LA on business, and a mutual friend had brought Seth to see Short Eyes because, like I said, it's iconic, and it's never done.
Wow.
So everybody wanted to rush us. So that's when I met Seth, and we had a relationship. We formed a relationship, and he joined the theater company I had, and Handball was his play. So I had the opportunity to produce Handball. And I got to play the role of Barry Porkchop, who was based off a legendary, rest in peace, Ricky Powell from Greenwich Village. Ricky Powell is an iconic hip-hop photographer. He was also called the fourth Beastie Boy back in the 80s. He used to ride with the Beastie Boys. And anyways, if you look up Ricky Powell, you're going to see everything on him. He just died during COVID. And I got to play the character that was based off Ricky Powell.
That's so cool.
True New York original guy.
So cool. Tell me about pre-production. You're doing pre-production of Pug. Is that happening?
Pug, we just shot that. Pug was a film, indie film I just acted in. I had nothing to do with that film aside from acting.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, that was something. Actually, it's a buddy's indie film who was a member of my theater company. So he kind of, this is his big, doing his indie film. So he called, and it was basically just a labor of love.
Nice. And you filmed that where?
In L.A.
In L.A. Yeah. Do you do a lot more in L.A. than anywhere else?
I do mainly in L.A. I reside in L.A.
Yeah,
now,
I figured that. But I know you do a lot of traveling.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah,
I mean, I know Kingpin, you travel with that.
Yeah, Kingpin I travel with. I just did a film up here in Nyack last week.
Right.
That I don't know when that will come out. We just shot last week.
Yeah, you just shot it.
But that's a good film.
And
And I'm working. I have a film. Start shooting when I get back to LA.
Yes.
Actually. So I'm really excited
Can't
about that.
talk about it too much. At all, actually. But it's from what I heard, it's very exciting.
Yeah. No, we can talk about this
can?
one. Yeah. This one's called Nuestra Santa Lucia. This is written by a close friend, and I'm directing it. So we're shooting a concept short.
Okay.
But they dumped a lot of money, and it's not like a little short. It's got a good budget.
A meaty indie.
So we're shooting in LA, and we're heading down to Mexico City to also shoot down there.
Mexico, never been there either.
Yeah, we're shooting outside of Mexico City in a place called Puebla. So it's an all Spanish script, all Latino cast. I turned down the script 5 times, but after Replica, they sought me out, which was great. And it had nothing to do with a Latino thing. It's more of the spiritual aspect of this film that they wanted. That's kind of my thing. I bring spirituality and dark, as you could see in Atonement, Replica, even Crossroads. They're usually dark scripts that bring a spiritual side. That's kind of what I try to do in my writing.
Well, you know what? We're going to take my last break. When we come back, we are going to talk about his baby, Replica. We're going to talk about how it originated as a play and how it is a movie, a full-length movie that he directed. And we're going to talk about who starred in it and who worked with you and how it all happened.
Yes.
And how this was birthed.
Yes.
So stay right there. We'll be back after this. Don't go away.
Teresa Farrow.
And who's the best actress you know?
Teresa Farrow.
And who's the best cast member in Bad Boy?
Teresa Farrow.
Who's got the best radio?
Teresa Farrow.
Stop. Who's your favorite Jimmy?
Teresa Farrow.
Who are you loving right now?
Teresa Farrow.
All right, Chuck. I love you too, baby.
Love you as always.
Thank you.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Tea Time. I'm so glad you guys join me every Monday night at 8 o'clock here in beautiful Paradise Studios. Thursday nights, Bobby has a live band here and you can actually get up and sing with them. Friday nights, we do an open mic here. You can get up, you can do a monologue, you can sing, you can act, you can do stand-up, whatever you want to do. This is the place to do it. And then after that, we turn the lights down low, we turn the music up high, and we do some karaoke. It's so much fun.
Sounds amazing.
It is a blast. So anyway, let me get back to Paul. He's an actor, he's a writer, he's a producer, he's a director. And, you know, you mentioned that you started this theater back in 2010. And while you were there, you wrote Replica and you performed Replica at the theater live.
Yeah.
Okay, so this has been in the works since 2015, correct?
Correct.
And then, when did you decide, I want to make this into a full-length movie?
Great question. So The reason I name dropped some of the names earlier, and the reason I do that is not to be like, oh, I've worked with this person, or give their bios up, but because everybody that's been in this journey had a big part into where I'm going today. So, for example, Seth Rosenfeld that I mentioned.
Right.
So when we were doing handball, that's when Replica actually. So that was 2013, and what happened was Seth said, we're in a theater company, so we were going to produce handball, and I thought it was very generous of him as a very big writer. He said, why don't I'll teach a writing workshop for the company.
Okay.
And we'll charge $100.
Right.
And I don't remember if it was 4 or 6 weeks.
Right.
But it was like, we meet once a week.
Yeah.
And we'll take all the proceeds and put it towards the production of handball.
Absolutely, yeah.
But he didn't keep any money.
Right.
It was a very awesome thing.
Generous,
So as
yes.
the artistic director, I was current at the time, I had never written. That wasn't even in being a writer was nothing. So that's why I bring up his name.
Okay.
Because I owe that much.
Sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I took the class just because if I'm going to tell the company, hey, take this class, I have to take it.
Right.
So I paid my $100 and I took the class. First night we just talked and he said, okay, everybody go home, get your laptops or your paper.
Okay.
Start with 2 characters, 1 location, doing an activity you're familiar with. That was the assignment. I went home that night. My girlfriend was in the living room. It was late. It was like 9 o'clock. She was kind of watching TV, unwinding. So I sat down with an iPad. I didn't have a laptop, and I started. And it was Mickey in a motel room weighing drugs. And I had an actor, which a lot of you know, I had an actor named Mickey Rourke in mind when I was writing it. So this is 2013. So that's why I named the character
Mickey.
So I just pictured like, Mickey Rourke. And weighing drugs, and his friend Paul comes in. And it started from there.
Right.
And I took it to class, and the next day I introduced a new character. And so that's when Replica started. So what happened was I wrote 14 pages.
Okay.
It's called a one-act play.
Mm-hmm.
And so did everybody in the class. And then our theater company, produced the one-act plays.
Okay.
And, you sell tickets, $20, and everybody's friends and families come and
Come
see
and
our
support.
work.
Yep.
And what happened was Replica was 3-person play.
Right.
Insanely funny. I mean, every night, standing ovation. So one night, Malcolm X's daughter comes, Ambassador Shabazz, and she requested to meet me after. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness. Now this play is about a white supremacist and an African American transgender woman who fall in love.
Right.
So there's a lot of N-words and a lot of it's a pretty gritty
it's raw.
play.
It's raw.
So when she wanted to meet me, I remember the woman playing the character at the time was not transgender because this is 2013. I didn't know any transgender artists at the time, so I did cast not a transgender woman, which today I would not do, but at the time.
Right.
So anyways, but that woman was so nervous, like, what? That's a show. I can't meet Malcolm X's daughter. I'm doing this for the white supremacist. So we went out and met her after, and she said, Paul, I loved this play.
Wow.
And I wish more people would be authentic and truthful in the writing.
Right.
And that hit me. Like if Malcolm X's daughter is telling me,
you got the stamp of approval. You don't.
She's like,
that's
go
it.
all the way. Stop.
That's your validation.
That was
that was it.
So then, then I developed. I came to New York to train with Maggie Flanagan as an actor in her conservatory in Chelsea. And while I was here, that same actress kept calling me every night. You need to write the full play. You need to write the full play. So I said, when I get back to L.A., I'll do it. So I got back to L.A. I took 14 days straight, no break, and I wrote I wrote the full-length play.
Wow.
And then that got produced, and it went crazy from there. How
long did the play actually run at the theater?
So the first time, like 12 weeks.
Okay.
And then we put it to bed. Then it got produced again for like 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Then I put it to bed for, I think, 2 years. And an actor named Jeremy Luke had seen the original production and was dying to play this character. and said, hey, he called me.
As the white supremacist.
As the lead, yeah.
As the lead.
He called me. I'm on my couch. I'll never forget. So this is important to where the film comes from, because he called me and he was like, yo, Paulie Wolf, you know, Jeremy Lou, yo, fucking, I'm fucking over there.
Okay.
Freaking.
Yeah.
I'm freaking going crazy. I want to play something. So I said, listen, I got no money. It's been produced twice. And Jeremy was like, look, we'll produce it together out of our own pocket. I'm like, all right, man, let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And I had just done small shots with him. Like, he had cast me in small shots. So that's why he calls it. I said, all right, let's do it.
Right.
So we did it. I directed it. He played the lead, started casting it.
Yeah.
And that production went crazy.
Wow.
That's where, like, everybody, a lot of it because of Jeremy Luke's connections.
Right.
A lot of celebrities came out. Like, the whole cast of This Is Us.
Wow.
Like, it was
Go ahead, name drop. Go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead.
that one I'm proud.
Go ahead.
I'm going to brag
the whole
on that.
cast of This Is Us.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Or most of them. But a lot of A-list
Isn't that nice?
celebrities
That's
came
sweet.
out.
Very,
and that
very
was
sweet.
standing ovation. Every night sold out.
Nice.
So I knew for sure at that point it was like, I mean, I knew we had something special, but that one solidified, like, man, people really dig this play.
Yeah.
Like, before it was like, but now it was like, these are strangers coming. These are like, I don't
this isn't
know.
family and friends
Right.
anymore.
I was like, I don't even know these people showing up, because, you know, then everyone's tweeting, and I was like, wow, people really like this play.
Yeah.
And so a manager came, and works at a big management company in LA, and he got a hold of me and wanted a meeting, and they signed me right there, literary. Never wrote any. It was such a blessing, because I know there's writers out there that, you know, spend years at the school to get. So that manager kind of thought, have you thought about doing a screenplay? And I said, I thought about it, but... And I had this rough little ridiculous screenplay. It was like the play just broken into scenes. It was like...
Right.
So I got to work on that. And...
So fast forward. Let's fast forward, because we have 4 minutes left.
Sure.
Fast forward to the Chelsea Film Festival.
Yeah, so the movie's done. We shoot the movie. I ended up getting
How long
Mickey
did it
Rourke.
take to film the movie?
The movie took 12 days and a pickup. So I shot the full feature in 12 days with one pickup day. And then it took me almost 6 months for post-production.
So you have to remember, he's writing with Mickey Rourke in mind in 2013, and you get Mickey Rourke to be in the freaking film.
Yeah, crazy.
Okay, Bobby, throw up that picture of Mickey Rourke with Paul's dad. That's I think it's the last pic. There's Mickey with your father.
That's right. My father's from Greenwich Village, so Mickey's the Pope of Greenwich Village. So, you know, our whole life we've been Mickey Rourke fans.
Amazing.
And, so yeah, God works in mysterious ways.
Doesn't he?
So I had no idea. I mean, when I wrote it, I put Mickey as a joke.
So
like
you
a
have
dream.
James Russo's in
James
it.
Russo.
Alexander Gray
Nick
is the
Turturro.
lead. Nick Turturro. Throw up the picture with Nick. You and Nick, there you are.
Yeah.
Oh
Nick
my God!
Turturro.
And I was in Recipes for Love with Nick and Philly, and I'm hoping to get him on the show.
Oh yeah, you got it.
You're gonna get him on the show, right?
Yeah. Well, let's call him.
And there's
right
the
now.
poster. There was the poster, and you had the premiere. You had the premiere at Chelsea Friday night.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I could not make it because it was last minute for me. And then you have a picture of the panel. Did a little Q&A after.
Yeah.
Bobby, if you want to throw those up, and then you have a picture of you and Ralph Bracco, who you did Kingpin with.
Yes.
Yeah. There's the Q&A.
Yeah.
With the cast.
Right.
And it's great.
My buttons are popping. Look.
And that's great.
Yeah.
And then
there's Jeremy Luke.
There's Jeremy Luke right there.
He's great.
And then he was in Jersey
Diesel
Bread.
Stringer. Yeah, Jersey Bread. Jeremy's great. He's a phenomenon. The
I don't
Irishman.
know if he was on set with me that day. I don't remember, to be honest with you.
Yeah, we could call him when we get offline.
We
He's
can,
great.
but I don't think he was.
Yeah.
So here's the whole thing. This thing starts out as a play. Now it's at the Chelsea Film Festival. How surreal was it for you to sit there and watch this on the big screen?
It was nuts. I mean, I grew up going to that theater. Like that theater, I remember vividly watching Dances with Wolves with my father and being like so. I mean, my best friend Ron, I posted today. He passed away of MS 2 years ago, and you know, me and him used to go to that theater.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Well,
So cool.
I love that you kept it very authentic.
Yeah.
You hired a transgender person
course.
to play a transgender character.
Right.
And then tell me about Chaz Bono.
Chaz Bono's great. Chaz Bono was involved when I first got the script done. I sent it. I got hooked up with Chaz Bono through an agent, and Chaz hooked me up to GLAAD, which is a very important organization for the LGBTQ community. And I would send the script to them and just get feedback and notes, like what wasn't reading authentic, or so. For example, one big part was a major important monologue in the film that Alexandra does. Was they didn't tell me what to write, but I remember Chaz called me and had read what I originally had there and thought, he said, listen, it's your movie and you have the right to do what you want, but I think you have the power in your pen that there's a trans kid somewhere right now who's suffering, and you have the power to showcase a trans actress in a lead position. So is there any way you could give her a little more power in this role? So I took that note, I went home, I wrote for like 2 days, and I sent the draft back in, and they absolutely loved it.
It's amazing.
And, I got that stamp of approval because I'm not from that community.
Right.
So, yeah, that was great. Chaz was a big help with that.
Oh, my gosh. I want to ask you so many more questions, but we're out of time,
It's okay.
Paul. I'd love to have you back. You know, open invitation whenever you're in New York or virtual, if that works. But listen, I want to thank everyone for joining me. Thank you again for coming in. I appreciate it. Everyone, listen, stay safe, stay well. Tell everyone you love them. And I'll see you next week. Ciao, everybody.
Ciao.